In arguments, many people believe that the one who shouts the loudest must be the one who's right. But true power has nothing to do with emotional outbursts. Real strength lies in clarity, intelligence, and the ability to stay calm when others lose control. Today, I'm going to share with you 6 powerful responses that protect your dignity, guard your peace of mind, and make others stop and truly listen. 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. Picture this: you're in a meeting, a family discussion, or even a heated conversation with a stranger. The other person starts raising their voice, trying to dominate the moment, cutting you off, pressing harder and harder. The natural reaction is to push back with the same energy, maybe even louder, just to prove your point. But the moment you do that, you've already stepped into their game. And in that game, no one really wins. Instead, imagine looking them calmly in the eye and saying, "I don't need to raise my voice to be right." Those words shift the entire atmosphere. Suddenly, you're not playing defense, you're setting the rules. You're showing that authority doesn't come from volume, but from clarity and self-control. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus once said, "He who cannot control his tongue will be a slave to his emotions." When you stay calm, you're not suppressing your power, you're displaying it. You're proving that confidence doesn't need noise to be heard. And here's the thing: people notice. They notice the person who speaks with composure in the middle of chaos. They respect the one who doesn't get dragged into the storm but instead stands above it. That's real influence. That's real strength. 2. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone tries to cut you down with sarcasm, mockery, or even outright contempt? The first impulse is often to fire back with the same kind of attack, to give them a taste of their own medicine. But that only pulls you into their level, and you end up losing just as much as they do. Instead, pause for a second, look at them calmly, and say, "The way you speak says more about you than it does about me." This simple sentence works like a mirror. You're not insulting them. You're not defending yourself desperately. You're holding up their words and making them face their own behavior. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." And that's exactly what you're doing. You're showing that their disrespect doesn't define you, it exposes them. And here's the hidden power. When you don't react the way they expect, you change the script. Instead of being dragged into their negativity, you set the tone of the conversation. You show self-respect, and in doing so, you force them to look at themselves in a way they didn't expect. Because in the end, true respect isn't something you demand. It's something your character inspires. And when you choose dignity over anger, you win without even fighting. 3. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. Some conversations aren't really conversations at all. They're battles, disguised as dialogue. The other person interrupts you again and again, raises their voice, insists on pushing their truth, and expects you to keep playing along. But here's the truth: you don't have to. That's when you take a breath, stay calm, and say, "Let's talk when we can do it respectfully." This isn't weakness, it's not retreat, it's a declaration of principle. You're making it clear that your time and your energy are too valuable to waste on chaos. Think about it. If someone refuses to let you finish a sentence, if they keep attacking instead of listening, what's the point? By saying this phrase, you're setting the standard. You're saying, "I'm open to a real conversation, but only if respect is part of it." Epictetus reminded us, you cannot control what others do, but you can control what you accept. And that's exactly what this phrase does. It defines what you will and won't accept. And here's the impact. Suddenly, the argument is no longer about the topic itself. It's about the conditions for meaningful dialogue. You've shifted the focus. If they can't rise to that standard, the conversation ends. And when that happens, you haven't lost. You've taken back control. Because anyone who refuses to speak with respect has already lost the privilege of speaking with you. 4. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. There are moments when every word feels wasted. The other person isn't really listening. They don't care about understanding. All they want is to win, no matter how much it costs, even if it means tearing you down in the process. That's when this phrase becomes your shield. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. It's short, it's clear, and it's powerful. You're not asking for permission, and you're not explaining yourself. You're simply drawing a line. Picture yourself in a heated argument where every sentence from the other side is dripping with negativity. You feel your patience running out. Instead of exploding, you stay composed, look at them directly, and calmly say that line. In that instant, you cut the toxic cycle at its root. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." That's exactly what you're doing here. By choosing not to continue, you're protecting your energy, your peace, and your dignity. And let's be clear, this is not surrender, it's strength. It's knowing that your inner calm is worth far more than having the last word. When you walk away with composure, you're not avoiding conflict, you're rising above it. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is closing the door. And when you do, the silence that follows speaks louder than any argument ever could. 5. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. Not every disagreement comes from enemies. Sometimes it's friends, family members, or colleagues, people who genuinely care about you. But they try to push their beliefs, their choices, or their worldview onto you. And if you're not careful, you end up sacrificing your own voice just to keep the peace. That's when this phrase becomes essential. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. It's respectful, but firm. You're not dismissing them, and you're not starting a fight. You're simply saying, I hear you, but I think for myself. Imagine a loved one pressuring you to make a decision you don't agree with. You could argue back and forth for hours, or you could stay calm, hold your ground, and say this one line. The power of it is that it closes the door to further pressure while keeping the relationship intact. Seneca once said, "To be a slave to the opinion of others is the worst of all prisons." This phrase is your key to freedom. It reminds others and yourself that respect doesn't mean submission. And here's the real effect. When people see they can't bend you, they start respecting your independence even more. Because emotional freedom is magnetic. It shows strength, confidence, and integrity. So the next time someone tries to impose their view on you, remember, you can respect their perspective without giving up your own. That balance is what earns lasting respect. 6. Silence is my answer. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. There are situations where arguing, explaining, or even defending yourself only feeds the fire. The more you talk, the more ammunition you give the other person. And that's when silence becomes your greatest weapon. By simply choosing not to react, you're sending a clear message. I will not waste my energy on this. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It takes incredible strength to hold your ground without saying a word, especially when you're being provoked. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, sometimes silence is the best answer. And he was right. When you refuse to play the game ends. The person trying to provoke you is left with nothing to push against, nothing to feed on. Think of it this way. Silence isn't empty. It's full of self-control, confidence, and presence. It tells others that you don't need to prove yourself with noise. You prove it with composure. And here's the magic. Silence often speaks louder than words. It forces others to reflect on their own behavior, and it protects your peace at the same time. In a world where everyone is quick to react, the one who stays calm, steady, and silent becomes unforgettable. So remember, not every battle deserves your voice. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. 6 powerful responses that protect your peace. So now you have 6 powerful responses that aren't meant to humiliate or destroy anyone. They're designed to protect your dignity, defend your peace of mind, and earn you real respect. Let's remind ourselves one more time. 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. 2. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. 3. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. 4. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. 5. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. 6. Silence is my answer. When you practice these phrases and use them with calm, clarity, and confidence, something shifts. People begin to notice that you're not easy to provoke. They see that you carry yourself with strength, self-control, and presence. And over time, that presence commands respect without you ever needing to raise your voice. Because true power isn't about shouting the loudest or forcing others to agree. True power is calm. True power is clarity. True power is character. Here at Stoic Spring, I share lessons from the wisdom of the ancients so you can live with more respect, more peace, and unshakable inner strength. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because what's coming next could transform the way you face every challenge in life. And tell me in the comments, out of these 6 responses, which one will you try first? I'd love to read your thoughts. If you found value in these words, don't just stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss new lessons on wisdom, self-mastery, and inner peace. Together, let's build a stronger mind and a calmer life.